السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهدي الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد. We thank and praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for bringing us closer to the month of Ramadan, the month of barakah and maghfirah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to extend our life so that we can witness this great month, inshaAllah. Inshallah, tonight we will continue in the series of topics related to perfecting moral character. As the Prophet ﷺ said that he was sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ لِأُتَمِّمَ مَكَارِمَ الْأَخْلَاقِ, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the Prophet ﷺ to perfect moral character. So today's topic is the fourth in the series that we have been doing every month, and tonight inshaAllah I will be focusing on adab al-hadith. Now we know just by introduction that the deen of Islam has rules of behavior, etiquettes and manners, and these rules cover every aspect of life, and that is the beauty of Islam. These rules also apply to the whole society, to everybody in the society, the young, the old, the rich, the poor, the men and the women. These rules and manners in fact cover even minor acts, such as entering and leaving the toilet, the position while sitting and cleaning oneself. And when we apply these rules and these etiquettes and these manners, it will refine our character, and it will bring us closer to the hearts and minds of people. And in fact, this is what Islam wishes to do for us, is to raise the level of our civilization. In pointing out the rank or the manners, the fact that manners rank higher than deeds, if we look and compare the two, Imam al-Qarafi rahmatullahi alayhi said, you should know that a little good manners is better than a lot of good deeds. So that's how manners rank, better than deeds. The Muslim personality is distinct and unique in this one very aspect, in the way we behave. Your appearance, your character, and your manners, they tell people who you are. They reflect your personality. Islam teaches good manners and stresses this fact because Islam wants us to perfect our personality. And if we do that, inshallah, if we all work on perfecting our personality, this will help promote harmony within our community. Not only our community, but in fact the whole society. The Prophet ﷺ, one day, he advised his companions and he said to them, you are on your way to meet your brothers, so put on nice clothes and fix your saddles so that you appear distinct amongst people as a beauty spot. So that is what we should try to be. We should try to be that beauty spot, people who stand out amongst the crowd. And then the Prophet ﷺ completed his advice to the Sahaba. He said to them, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not like roughness, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not like rudeness. So today inshallah we will focus briefly on adab al-hadith, the manners of speaking, and the issues related to hifdul lisan, guarding the tongue. Now we know that the tongue and language are great gifts from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we cannot thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enough for this. And it is because of this gift that human beings are superior to the other creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, Ar-Rahman 'allama al-Quran, khalaqa al-insan, 'allamahu al-bayan. The most gracious Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taught the Quran. He has created human beings, and He has taught man speech. So the test for us is, how do we use that gift, that precious gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Is this gift of speech, is it used senselessly to cause harm and to spread mischief, like some people in the media are doing about our community? Or is it used for good and to spread the haqq, the truth? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us clearly in the Quran what purpose we should be using this gift for. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لا خير في كثير من نجواهم إلا من أمر بصدقة أو معروف أو إصلاح بين الناس ومن يفعل ذلك ابتغاء مرضات الله فسوف نؤتيه أجرا عظيما. In most of their private conversation there is no good. This is the reality. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows us. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala starts out by saying, in most of your private conversations, there's no benefit from it. We're talking about rubbish, talking nonsense. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, but if someone commands to a deed of charity, or to justice, or to reconciliation between people, to him who does this, seeking the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then we are going to give him a great reward. So this is what we should be doing. We should be evaluating our speech, our gatherings, and to see where the benefit is. And are we speaking things to earn the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so that we can gain that reward, inshallah. Before talking, so one of the manners that Islam teaches us, before we talk, we should evaluate everything that we are about to say. We should avoid unnecessary speech, and to do that, to avoid speaking, in fact, is an act of ibadah, an act of worship, which itself will be rewarded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if there's one hadith that you remember from tonight's lesson, it's this hadith. And I'm sure you know this hadith, but really, sometimes we don't act on this hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال من كان يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر فليقل خيرا أو ليصمت. Whoever believes in Allah and the last day should say something good or remain silent. Now, what are some of the things that when speaking, what are some of the good things that we can say when speaking? These are just a few examples, and these will gain reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The first is speaking to try and reconcile people, to put things right between people. So you say good words to try and soften people's hearts. Two brothers are having an argument, a dispute, or husband and a wife, and you say some good words to try and bring their hearts closer together, to put things right. That is good speech. The second is amr bil ma'ruf wa nahy anil munkar, encouraging people to do what is right and to forbid the haram, to forbid evil. The third is guiding others to what is best for them. Nasiha. So if a brother comes to you and you think carefully about the good best words to say to him, to advise him for what is best for him, then that is good speech, you will be rewarded for it. The fourth is striving jihad. Now the non-Muslims, they don't like this word jihad. But this is the jihad of the tongue. I'm not talking about the jihad of the sword. But they can't seem to understand this, that jihad is all-encompassing. So we are talking about now adab al-hadith. So we're talking about jihad of the tongue, that you can strive, you can struggle against evil, against batil, for the truth with your tongue. And this is the battle that we are fighting. We're not fighting any battles in Australia. They don't like these words either. See, I have to be careful with the words I choose, right? Inshallah, we can use our tongues for khair, for good, to counter all the negativity that they are putting against our community today. And we are losing. In fact, we are losing there. You know, when you look at the media, we are losing. And the media is the field of words. Whether it is print or television, it's a field of words. And we are losing there. So that's the struggle that we should get involved in. What are some examples of things where we need to remain silent, and when we remain silent, we get rewarded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? These are harmful speech. This is if you say something, you will cause harm. Some of these examples are backbiting. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives a very horrible description of backbiting in the Quran. An example by saying it is as if you are eating the flesh of your dead brother. You will hate doing that, so why don't you hate backbiting